So yeah, baha eba be breaky at the mamo say lawyers ni be the likes of Atachia, the tactical Atachia, and former Attorney General Godfrey Dame file a petition to Chief Justice say vacation, legal vacation na ekoso some oral cases na Chief Justice ebinom say judges ne binom say omontena case ne so no omo de omo ne nya adwenti nka omo besre Chief Justice no nka on suspend sa legal vacation trials ebekoso na we na case no application koko pie mu high court etena ase no abusuya high court a reject sa application na che say Atachia ene Godfrey Dame ediko pie mu say enka legal vacation trial cases ekoso no enka omon suspend abusuya ya bo ede atu agu baby enye asem keto akwa we de omo application no esi ebo so enye asem keto akwa no ehun sem bebre Ghana Bar Association ebe respond cases ebe koso during legal vacation no and Chief Justice nso aba be reply omo the likes of Chief Justice and Deputy Attorney General say bebre na ekokoso yenko na yenko kotie ensema ekoso political highway so there is much interesting moment ahead now san ebe kon Ghana ha say open computer papa and a laptop papa na we use abura periodic computers and accessories and I'll be laptop papa na we using the location and ya kwan Kumase Bokrom Estates Eli Fre number na ego screen no ase ade ba kwa ede wo minister say ukra low budget and high budget ubenya high quality laptop e dey free periodic computer so madam.
Absolutely. In a somewhat related story, the Accra High Court has declined a letter by lawyers of the 4th, 5th, 7th and 8th accused persons in the 291 million cedi National Petroleum Authority theft case involving former CEO Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid and 7 others. The lawyers were seeking an adjournment of the trial pending the determination of the petition to the Chief Justice to stop trials during the legal vacation. According to the OSP, the accused persons are alleged to have extorted hundreds of millions of cedis and foreign currency from bulk oil transporters and oil marketing companies under the guise of official duties before laundering the proceeds through property acquisitions and business entities to conceal their illicit origins. The accused persons are Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid, Jacob Kwamena Anwan, Wendy Newman, Albert Ankra, Isaac Mensah, Bright Bediako Mensah, and Kweku Abwaje Akwa. Let's get a bit more on this story. Lord Edwasari is our court correspondent with all the details. Lord, what else can you tell us about the story, particularly when we have heard from the Chief Justice that there is not going to be a change?
Well, Kimni, this essentially sort of brings some form of closure to proceedings today, because essentially the presiding judge in the NPHR indicated that he had received a letter from the 4th, 5th, 7th, and 8th accused persons' lawyers indicating that they will not be able to attend the proceedings for today, and so they were seeking an adjournment to October. Now, their reason was that they have had to travel out of the jurisdiction, and so their prayer was that essentially the court should adjourn when the legal vacation ends for the case to continue. Now, I need to add that the former NPA CEO, Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid, the second accused person, third accused, they were all present in court with their lawyers. Now, the presiding judge in the matter indicated that in as much as a letter has been submitted to him, the lawyers of the 4th and 5th accused persons operate from different law firms, and so they could have sent other lawyers, perhaps junior lawyers, to represent their accused person, and so he was not going to grant that letter for adjournment. He also indicated that in lieu of that, he's actually going to adjourn the matter, a short adjournment, and then we'll give them the opportunity to come for the case. Now, at this instance, the lawyer for Dr. Mustafa Hamid, Joseph Kemka, he rose to indicate that there was also a petition to the Chief Justice. He then cited that petition and indicated that pending that determination, he would want the case to be adjourned. And then the judge again indicated that for as long as the warrant which was issued by the Chief Justice is still in place. He's going to sit through all the cases. And so he essentially adjourned the case to August 18 for the continuation of the case, pending the dissemination of that petition with the sent to the Chief Justice. And now that we have the Chief Justice say on it, it presupposes that at the next hearing, all the cases will continue as usual. And Kemini, I need to add that even before I was descending, there was also another matter with, involving the former National Signals Bureau Director.
We'll come to that in a bit, Lord. We'll get the details of Dubois' case, but let's take a listen to Joseph Benka when he spoke to you on this matter to do with the legal vacation and its implication on the case that they're hearing in court.
The Courts Act, particularly Section 79, thereabout, it gives him the discretion to take certain decisions for sittings of court, including weekends and holidays and etc. The problem I have, which I have stated without equivocation, is that you realize that there are only two specialized courts, and they are the only two courts that are sitting during the vacation to hear substantive trials. I think that one thing I've realized is a number of people are getting confused between the substantive hearings and motions. You know that during the holidays, judges do not normally deal with the substantive hearings. It is only motions. So the holiday judges sit to hear motions and urgent applications. But if you look at the two specialized courts, they are asked to do normal hearings that we do during the normal period that we are in court, as against the vacation. So if you ask me, it's novel. We've not done that before. The convention has been that we go on vacation at the end of July and come back in October for substantive trials. But a few judges are selected to sit to hear motions and urgent applications only. So what is happening now, with all respect, is novel. Especially so when you realize that the cases that are pending in these two courts are all of a political nature. You know, because respectfully, we have so many cases, some of them 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, very serious cases, murder, land matters, civil litigation, criminal litigation. So many cases, very important cases that have been in the shelves for years. But these cases started, the majority of them started a year ago. So why the rush to hear those ones to a conclusion?
Well, Joseph Memka is a lawyer for the former CEO of NPA, Mustafa Hamid. Lord Edwasar is our correspondent. And Lord, let's talk now about Dubois, who found himself in a bit of a pickle, also in relation to legal vacation matters. His counsel was not in court. Tell us a bit more about that.
Indeed. Well, when the case was called, he notified the court that he'd had a challenge trying to reach his lawyers. He particularly cited the fact that as recent as last week, he knew his lawyers had to go outside the region to mark some scripts. And then he wasn't even sure if the lead counsel, Samuel Atachan, was in the jurisdiction to begin with. Now, the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Shemsai, responded by saying that he knew of the petition that the defense counsel had written to the Chief Justice, and so he knew that would not be in court today. He, however, indicated that there's no practice direction which indicates that once a defense counsel indicates that he's unavailable for case, the case cannot continue, especially because there are other lawyers that can take up the case. He talked about the fact that according to a practice direction, there's no clear direction regarding legal vacations, and it is at the purview of the court on adjournment, and so the defense counsel cannot determine when the case should be heard. Now, after hearing that submission from the Deputy Attorney General, the presiding judge in the matter, Justice Atibonga, indicated that it would not be fair on the part of the accused persons for the case to proceed in the absence of their lawyers. He indicated that he's going to give the lawyers up to 17th of August for both parties to decide how the case should proceed, because some such has indicated that from the prosecution, they decide that the defense will not be in court until the Chief Justice has determined that petition that was submitted to him. Now, the presiding judge also added that in the event that Samuel Atacha and then the rest of the lawyers fail to turn up on 17th August, the accused persons, being Kwame Dubois and the spouse, will have to continue with the cross-examination of the prosecution's final witness.
Wow, that's very instructive, and also well, they say tomorrow is pregnant. We'll see how it plays out. Thank you so much for your time. Lord Edwasari is our court correspondent there. Very interesting developments coming out of our courts around legal vacation conversation.
Focusing on sanitation and our drive towards making our cities clean. And let's get into it, because from our homes, markets, shops, and offices, Ghana produces enough waste every day to fill close to 800 fully loaded 20-foot shipping containers. Just think about it. And every morning, another 800 containers worth of waste is added to the pile. But once the bin is emptied or the rubbish is taken away, where does it actually go? In some parts of the country, it is collected. In others, families carry it to open dumping sites, burn it, or simply dispose of it wherever they can. And even in the Greater Accra region, where collection is highest, the waste problem remains difficult to miss. So what really happens to the rubbish we throw away? Let's follow the waste through the numbers this afternoon in what is a serialized part of looking at the waste challenges in the country. And so more of a part one in relation to what really the challenge is. Then we'll seek to get into who should be doing what, right? Where have monies gone to in terms of fighting and dealing with waste in the country? But let's start off today with that simple question of where is the waste going to? Is it being collected? And what is happening to the waste, right? So join me on that dashboard. And I was talking to you about 8 million tons of waste produced every year. When we work the numbers, up to 820-footer containers produced every day. Just imagine that. That's how much waste is produced every day in the country. Well, the numbers suggest that if we're to continue down this trajectory, we'll be producing 20 million, right, by 2050 per year. Means waste will pretty much swallow us, or we can turn it into a gold mine, right? We could transfer it into a gold mine of some sort, depending on how we approach and deal with it. But what are we throwing away in terms of what we describe as waste? Other items, right, constitute about 30% of what waste is. Then there is organic waste, things that can decompose once it gets into the ground. And so your banana peels, orange peels, leftover food, all of those can decompose. Then the one that is very visible for all to see, 16%, which is plastics. That's what you find in your drains and whatever. Sometimes when you dig in certain areas, you find plastic, rubber, and other things buried in the ground because it takes in excess of 600 years, right, plus for plastics to begin to decompose when it goes into the earth, amongst many other things. So that is the composition of what waste we dispose of, which is making up the 2 million metric tons per year. Now, what is the urban-rural divide in terms of waste collection? Now, in urban places, we realize that up to 51.4% of the waste generated is collected, right? With urban public dams or open spaces accounting for some 24.6%. So in the urban areas, we tend to see a bit more in terms of collection, and particularly in the Greater Accra region as well, we see a lot of collection. People go, is it tricycles, is it the dump trucks, whatever, they go around and they are collecting, at least in comparison to other places. Whereas in rural areas, we don't see great collection, 5.8%. That is well below any appropriate numbers, right? And rural public dumps and open spaces, we see that increase. So unlike in the Greater Accra region where we see more collection and about 24% dumping it in open spaces, we see the reverse, and by quite some margin as well in terms of the rural areas as well, as to more individuals openly dumping their refuse in open spaces. Now, the worst and the best places in terms of this that we speak about is the Greater Accra region and the Northeast region. In the Greater Accra region, 69, almost 70% of the waste is collected, right? Whereas some 30% thereabout, you can argue, is either dumped or burned. Then in the Northeast region, which is the worst in terms of the data we've seen, 4.7% of the waste is collected there. No surprises, because we've seen other data from the Statistical Service in terms of multidimensional poverty and some other things, which points to the Northeast region requiring urgent attention. So there won't be a lot of surprise also with the fact that more and more of the waste there is dumped openly, with only 4.7% of it collected. Right? So these are the numbers we're talking about. As to the waste we're generating, in the Greater Accra region where everything is here, 70% is what is collected. The remaining 30% is being thrown out openly or is being bent. So in the capital where everything must work and make sense, it's not 100%. Then in the Northeast region as well, we're seeing in the lowest of forms the collection in that regard as well. But what happens to the uncollected waste is a question. 37.5% of it ends up in public dump or open spaces. So people are throwing the rubbish into open spaces when they are not collected. Now we're speaking specifically to that which is not collected. So for instance, in the Greater Accra region, 70% is collected. What happens to the 30%? Of that 30%, at least 3/4 of it is ending up in open spaces, right? And they could end up in the drains and what have you when it rains. Now, 22.5% is bent. Then 3.3% indiscriminate dumping. That is why you can see videos of someone openly throwing into a drain, amongst other things, right? So that is a situation with respect to what is happening to the waste that is not collected. But let's look at what all of this could mean in terms of an investment and the opportunities that are readily available within the waste management ecosystem. When we collect, dispose it, and clean it up again and pay for the damage, all of that roughly around $4 billion US dollars. Investment opportunities and a means of creating jobs as well, right? You can decide to sit and list all of the benefits which can be associated with if waste is collected and collected properly in this country, right? So, like I mentioned, it's only a part of what we're seeking to get into with respect to waste management in this country. We're only showing you how much all of it will cost. The next time, we're going to show you what we've done in the course of 20 plus odd years with respect to waste collection, waste management, where we've come from, where we ought to be, and where we currently are.
Administrators is beginning to affect the smooth running of administrative services in Ghana's public universities. While lecturers remain at post, the administrators responsible for critical processes that keep universities functioning, from admissions and student registration to examinations, finance, human resource management, and certification, have stayed out of work over concerns of widening disparities in market premiums and related allowances between teaching and non-teaching senior staff members. Ibrahim Abubakar, our Ashanti region correspondent, joins us with more from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Ibrahim, what can you report from there?
The impact is beginning to show heavily, particularly in the area of the administrative services. Now, this morning, students who came to the administration seeking for a certificate transcript and even some registration support and other administrative services have not been able to access these services because those offices have been shut down or are under lock and key. Even though, like you rightly mentioned, academic activities.
So abusunya we ne ensema ekọ so ewo political highway so Ghana Bar Association motse ensema ekọ so Chief Justice enso ensema odebetu da and a High Court rejecta or ma reject application attaching edikoko pmu ewo High Court. Ebeda ma say some je penekoko tisa ensem we ere ma aha gossip politics TV so